Hey there, Joy of the World friends and family and newcomers stopping by. Thanks for checking this video out. This is our Magic Monday. And what kind of magic are we wanting to work up? Well, let's just go ahead and jump into the whole pot. Earth is here. Earth is here and is wanting to talk about these two things. I take ownership of my own life. The strongest principle of growth lies in the human choice. And what kind of growth are we looking at? Internal growth. Can you see the power of nature wanting us to grow within, to mature into our knowingness, our power, our authority, and not just boom, boom, boom power, but literally being able to have clarity, fully containing and possessing ourselves so that other people's emotions or issues or things or problems or calling us a problem doesn't continue to throw or sway us or get us off or out of balance, out of our reward, our place in this world, which is joy, okay? Not just me, okay? It's all of us. And the gray squirrel is also coming in. So, and it's talking about finding new ways of solving problems. Well, for one, if it's something to do with you, it is a solution, okay? You are a solution. You are made up of salt water. If you have a problem that you're struggling trying to solve over and over and over again, it's because it's not yours, or the way it's presenting itself to you is not through your way of thinking, okay? And that's the importance of meditation or other things like that, is it molds and it moves it around in a way that you can begin to see it from your point of view and go, no, not for me, not mine, or else, okay, I see it now. Okay, I see the opportunity. I see the wisdom in this. I see the creativity in this, because yourself wants to come forward. It doesn't like being stressed or perplexed. And so, okay, I see. Earth is wanting to show up as your body and that connection with it. So I love it because over here in the little split of these pearls, I left it open so I could show you, is caring connection. And it's talking about developing a caring connection with yourself. And that begins to provide the opening that they need. That when you begin to display that love towards oneself, the attention towards oneself, that's when they have access to you. Spirit guides, nature, your human nature, your own way of thinking, it can begin to refine. Okay, so let's get in here with one of these since those were sitting open. Let's split it again. Action. Okay, goddess of the moon. All right, so the moon is wanting to be included. The moon has been doing some interesting stuff. Like, see these bars coming out from the squirrel? There were these bars throwing themselves out about in space, and it was talking about bacterial infection. And I don't mean like some physical thing, like some crazy 2020 stuff. We're talking about assets of the mind, that those are things that are not innate or natural to your body. They're foreign to your body. Okay, just like we were talking about the problems, right? So what we're really doing here, where it talks about finding new ways of solving problems, is getting in touch with who we are. So therefore, we're aware of mine and not mine. And what is not mine, we can move it on out. And those things don't need to live or dwell where? In your world. You are in charge of your world. No longer are you hemmed in by other people's opinions. Okay, friend. I saw you jumping. You're going to have to do more than that to come out and speak here. We're walking in the power of authority. Cornucopia. Now, this is the first layer of maturity, of like internal development. See the 11 up there, the master number? That is knowing yourself as an individual. Before you step out into those relationships, before you begin to try and navigate those waters, they want you to look inward. Remember the gestation card? Take that look inward, and the rain means give it some time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some tarot now that we have gray squirrel and cornucopia. They're wanting your health to flourish and abound, and also your wealth, because just like a dollar bill or a coin has something printed on both sides, your health and your wealth are the same unit. That's why it is important and valuable. So like money is also called currency. Well, energy is also called currency. And so when we're putting things out to other areas that are not ours, we're feeding them. And it doesn't mean we're in charge or control of what's going to come back from it. We might not even be aware of that. It's like, gosh, I always think well of them. I don't know why they're so miffed at me. Why are they attacking me or blaming me or whatever else? Well, there is a connection there. And it's able to feed back into a place where it can reach inside of you and those words can impact you. Okay, so apparently this is the tarot we're starting with because they're talking about all this emanation going on out. When it was laying down, it's funny, I was seeing the sun here, but now as I'm holding it up, I see the pupil, the eye, and not just EYE. They're talking about I am. Ooh, hold on. Let me get these then. Good thing I didn't put them all the way up. So Scorpio told us a lot about this at the channel because if you're new here, we are the whole zodiac. You're not just one ingredient in the pie, okay? You're not just one little slice. You're the whole pie, all right? And that's where we have to start coming into the center of truth. All right, so Earth, since you are here to speak, tell us, talking about changing your ways. Changing the ways in which you see things. Now, if you're someone who's always been blamed, you're used to taking a lot of responsibility. So when some less than mature spiritual energies around you aren't getting what they want, they whine, they cry, they punch, they kick, they try and get their way. And you being a responder, or in some senses, this sense, an over responder, meaning, you know, like first responders are people who come to the scene of someone else's issue because that's their job. This not your job, all right? We're getting in our business, not in a job where we're producing for someone else. First and foremost, we need to know ourselves. Know ourselves, all right? And begin to have the reward from that, because if we don't have that connection, that caring connection, that voice of knowing our own truth and being able to walk it out, we're really going to be confused when it comes to anything outside of us. Going to get in here, Dreamer of Wands. Okay, those were the four. Two of Cups. All right. They're saying it's time to get your own horse. Get on your own horse. I know the world and culture sells that this is all divine and romantic and how beautiful and how wonderful. Maybe you don't want to stare at the back of somebody else's head. Okay? That is a form of limitation. It impairs and it hinders your vision. And that's what this earth is talking about here. When it hinders your vision, you begin to see yourself with moon-mindedness as opposed to the glory of the sun. Gotcha. You're not seeing yourself directly, but you're seeing yourself as a reflection. Ooh, look at Lady of Pentacles, and that is impacting your wealth. Look at that. There's a sun up under your feet. Again, we're talking about ownership and identity. Now, okay, so they call it sex, and that doesn't mean the act that two people do on together. Remember the horse? Where'd that horse? I don't know. It's all put back in the split somewhere. There it is. Look at that. Okay. When the baby first comes out, they just call out male or female. They don't call out the weight. They don't call out everything else. That's the first thing they call out. So it's just simply our active power of who we are, our conjugation with life itself. That is our first identity. And now it's not about what sex you are, okay? It's about you being announced as being here, okay? And then when your name is applied, then it becomes personal. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, and when it's personal, because that happened when we were brand new here and we didn't walk and talk like little giraffes do or horses do or whatever else. We forgot a few things, and they're showing up. Earth is showing up here to remind us, okay? So that's where it comes into maybe feeling like we're responsible in a community or a family or in certain groups of maintaining and establishing the harmony of the troop. And they're shaking their head. They're like, so this is staying blind over here. There are going to be two over here. Let me move that. And you are open and y'all are up. Okay. So, and that means I need one more over here. So things are kind of out of sequence right now. A little wobbly and a little warbledy. And so it's kind of like if you get pushed in a pool, it takes a moment for that center of yourself to spin and to calibrate, to gyroscope, to figure out which way is up. Which way is you? Where are you going in this world? Okay, so Earth wants to start with 4 of Wands. Look at that. You're going into your temple. This is a temple path, one that was already prepared for you. And just because people seem to be attracted or drawn, it is yours. It is yours and yours alone. Look and see that box. There are some gifts that come with your identity that you may not know, and that's what they're talking about, cornucopia. Okay, so the solar plexus chakra, the sun that is there. So knowing not just what's yours and what's not yours. Ooh, excuse me. Of problems, they're talking of benefits. They're literally wanting to turn your mind towards the benefit and the reward of being you. So let's see what's coming in along with it, the Spirit of Pentacles. Remember the Lady of Pentacles was showing up at the bottom, as that's where the sun and the identity is coming on in. So it's that bit of the moon, the little missing piece that has got you uncomfortable. But the thing is, it is glaringly evident to you. And you're like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? What about when I solve this? What about when I solve that? Look at that tree. Holding the hands up, sitting in the balance of Libra, because we are the whole zodiac, right? And Libra has to do with the receptivity of our hands, okay? Taurus has to do with the refusal. So this is about being open and receptive, not waiting until that is cleared. This is what is going to clear that. This will clear that. This will clear that. So just when things seem too much and it's trying to give you all this evidence, all this proof of who and what you are and who and what you're worth, and you may be hearing stuff you don't want to hear and seeing stuff you don't want to see, and in your loved ones and the way you're being treated or how things are going on, it just says come into that center. See how it got you twisted? Can you see that? So this is what is setting you about straight. This is what is going to allow the earth to rise up to meet you, to fill in that space so that there is no more invasion. Now remember, this isn't on the parents, okay? We just came through them. We didn't just come from them, okay? We came from ourselves, and we come into this world where we have to come in a unique way, where we're 100% requiring of help and assistance. And now the thing is people help us as much as they are willing and or able, okay? So I see what we are going to do, willing and or able. So tell us about this. I love that we don't have to be perfect. The perfection comes when our nature is restored unto us, our identity is restored unto us. Who is here? Okay, would you guess? It is the moon, and this moon is like, can y'all see that? It's like, it's like a foghorn, but this time it's kind of barfing on you. And I am not liking that energy. It's up under your 4 of Wands. This is like letting the annoyance of people or the judgments of people or the opinions of people contaminate your roots. So this is like not allowing the sun to shine on your roots. See, this is nature. This is the earth's love for you, okay? It is shining all the way down to your roots until the fruits come. And even then continuing on, okay? And so that's what they're wanting to do, is let the earth rise to meet you, shine on your roots, okay? And lift you up and fill in the gaps and the cracks. But this thing is barfing all over it, blocking out the light. Now tell us a bit about that. Okay, it's got the Queen of Swords. Now look, this is a bit of distortion. Thinking 2 heads are better than 1. We're starting to get into Hydra stuff there, okay? And Hydra is the largest constellation in the night sky. Well, the day sky too, whatever, the whole sky, the whole universe. And the Hydra, when I've been studying the stars, what they've told me is when we try and handle things in our own earthen human power and strength, not our human nature, because that gets into the supernatural, that gets into the extraordinary or the extraordinary, right? When we try and do it on our own, we get caught in a bind or a sitch like this. And that's when others come all walking up, acting like, oh, I can just parade on through here anytime I want. This is for me. That is for me. I'm going to take some of this. I'm going to take some of that. I'm going to throw my trash. I'm going to disembowel. Ooh, God. That's rough, y'all. Ooh, Earth and cornucopia have traded place. Okay. Okay, so I see the situation here. Is that 2 heads and taking the opinions of others and letting them sit in the center and mulling them over in your heart. It is one thing to be mentored and to not just go into something totally blind on your own, but they do want you to go into meditation. And I describe it here at this channel. It's like sending out an email. The moment you hit click and send, you type whatever in, here's my problem, here's my excitement, here's my question, here's my whatever, you don't instantly get the response. It takes a little bit of time and then it comes on back to you. So you check on back in. So the reason why we ask before we're all pinned in and frumped up is so that the answer and the response comes right on time before things get totally out of hand. And then the boat's rocking, the scales are tipping, and we're all freaked out and afraid. Okay. So that way you have time to get guidance from your truth, from your center, from the pure perfection of life. That is what is perfect, that your nature. And that is what desires for you to shine and abound and come forward and enjoy your life. Because as you enjoy your life, life gets to enjoy you. Life loves you at all the time. But as your joy is an element of the human nature. Love is the element of nature. Okay. And when it comes in through the human experience, we put out an energy and an emanation like this fruitfulness. Okay. That causes life itself, the very earth we live in, to abound, to be excited, to be healed and feel good. See what happens? That's our divine nature activating right here. It's just like the spirals of the DNA molecule, and that emanates out this beautiful, pure white light. That's the full form of practicing gratitude or thankfulness or things like that. It's not what we do with our mouth, because I'm sure there are times people have apologized to you and you knew they didn't mean it. I'm sure there are times you've said it and you didn't mean it. We're taught that as a child, even growing on up. Go say you're sorry. Well, that doesn't mean you're sorry. Some of us don't even know how. And I can take, here's an infomercial break right here. I will tell you how. When you have a situation that's bothering you that you went through, maybe people threw out some words and you and another person were kind of saying things to each other. Maybe you're not sorry or sorrowed, which is where the word comes from, sorrowed about what you said because you said it very clearly and you thought every word before you spoke it, but maybe you didn't like the tone in which you said it. So you feel like there needs to be a restoration and a reconnection. You might go to the person and say, I apologize for the tone I took with you when I was sharing my feelings. You forgive me. I apologize. Do you forgive me? But you put in the specificity there. That has a lot to do with responsibility here as well. We put in a lot of these public service announcements, but this is why. I didn't know. I mean, I knew I felt bad and how I wanted to restore it, but sometimes if you take ownership for the whole thing, you can't figure out the ground that you're standing on. And then you begin to sow seeds against your confidence, against your truth, and against yourself. But it's as simple as that. And, my hope is that you'll meditate on just that one little thing and see how that begins to change the world around you, okay? So this brings in the 8 of discs. Trying to align to live in perfect peace, the goldenness self in the world that is raging up against you, trying to get a heads up, a leg up, a step forward. I want to get one of the mixed up deck. I took the borders off of all these cards so that we could get into limitless possibilities. Metamorphosis. I remember them talking about us changing our mind by changing our ways, and not just the ways outside of us. No, the ways in which our mind travels. That has a lot to do with our feelings, with what are we perceiving from people, but this here, the light is moving out from the squirrel, not coming inward. So taking that time with yourself to know how you think and how you feel about the situation, especially now that there's that bit of clarity about what is yours and what isn't, then it allows you to be able to transform and move through it, irregardless of the other person apologizing or not. When you have that ownership of what occurred in that moment, or maybe even over a long period of time, that's where the adjustment and the change is seeking to be made. And this is they're wanting to gift you the wisdom, the wisdom that comes with being you. All right. So that way you can stand in your truth and not be lured and baited out by low-lying energies, provocative energies that are simply wanting to feast upon your yumminess. It's like honey oozing on out when you allow it to poke you. So first and foremost, we get inside ourselves and allow the sun to shine on us and abound on us. All right. Bell announcement. So it's not like go out and tell everybody, hi, this is what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, because that's going to trigger an onslaught of hornets. Who knows when it'll be coming? But it's simply that quiet repose within oneself, just like the squirrel here. The gathering of your energies and allowing the wisdom to flow through you. That is the most important thing. And the announcement to be made is to your spirit, yourself, your guides inwardly is, hey, we're making a change. And like when you first do those old thoughts or those old things that aggravated you or pushed you around or maybe irritated you or whatever else, come and go, oh, you know, they're thinking of you this way or they're treating you this way and that shouldn't, that shouldn't happen. And you just go, I'm not entertaining that anymore. I'm not thinking that way anymore. You can bring me things that are harmonious and fresh, and that's what I'm going to pay attention to and spend my time on. That's not a form of denial because you're still the human trucking on and moving forward. But this is talking about the spiritual energy in the work, the one that goes before you and makes the way, the one that prepares the path so that as your days move forward, you begin to walk in that. And with that, I'm going to get 2121 to whoever wonders. All right, affirmators. Any more confirmation, blessing, and beauty on this announcement to our spirit, to ourself, to our soul of how we are proceeding, pardon me, and moving forward. Okay. I have my son coming on by, so I need to check. Ooh. Don't stress. You're like, come hella hot water is gonna happen. And you're like, because you're apparently needing change. If you're tuning in here, there's a lot of pressure and intensity going on, and not just inside you, but around you right now. That's why this message is coming out, because there's some intense energies and flare-ups going on in the sky, and they're even breaking up into like a multitude to surround and drown. And you're like, what, in a lake of fire? And it's like, no, get me out of here. But this is the logic mind. It's saying, don't be stressed. Do not be stressed. In the midst of it, take up your torch. This is not a race to be won. This is not, when you accomplish this, then we will bless you. Remember, that's what they're telling us back here. It's not conditional. This is love. It's unconditional. And it begins now. And just as you ease into these mind frames, it's a perfect balance. Just as those things come and drop off, then this fills up and meets you there. So like say you dump 2% of your mental stress. Well, as it's easing out and off, love is easing in. So that's why we begin these practices of knowing ourselves, of practicing love, of appreciating ourselves, of thinking on these things, because love is the force and the energy. Remember, as we pay attention to it, is when they get to come in, when love gets to come in, when life gets to come in, and it slowly displaces those things. It's not going to be like, oh, boom, you know, because if so, it would just singe the earth. But it's just like the sun gently falling, even on the hottest days. It gently falls, and it's making its way, what? Into your solution. That's right. Your soul, girl. Okay. So let's get over here with, let's see, Earth, do you want to talk about, yeah, we're going to get over here with Gray Squirrel talking about finding new ways of solving problems. So this might have to do with the mind frame because of what's going on with the squirrel there. If you look, these two are showing up as the same energy. Can you see here? Okay, that activation going on up. Kind of like if you nowadays, when you hold your camera to take a picture of the sun or the moon, it'll make that glow spot. That's what's going on here. And they're revealing what is going on in the mind of your heart, because the heart has a mind of its own. And that is the mind they be wanting us to mind. Pay attention to yourself. If you ever rode a school bus, oh my gosh, especially when you were young, keep your hands to yourself. Hands in your lap, feet and face forward. That's kind of what's going on here. See this 5 of Cups. We have different ways in which we connect, so it's not up to us to judge. When we begin to get into anything else, that will impact the connection going on here. Now remember, they're wanting to talk about the relationship. So apparently Squirrel is talking about the dynamic beyond the one, beyond the self. So getting into the world beyond us. So relationships, that's not just who we go to bed with or who we wake up with. It can be our children. It can be our community. It can be any sort of committee we serve on, or our business, or anything else in our comings and goings, society itself. So it has to do with the world around you and outside of you. And that's saying we all have our own way. Allow Spirit to connect with you, guide you, lead you, and that brings in this peace. Well, there's an anointing above your head here too, the Lady of Pentacles. So it's talking about don't be tempted to cut yourself off or cut yourself short. Okay, so it's not going to take a minute. It's a little bit of a learning curve. Maybe you haven't had very normal dynamic interactions, or the same scenarios kept playing out. Okay, so they're saying get some assistance here. This is the Angelarium. We need help, Earth. We need help, Gray Squirrel, in solving this dilemma of living in a society, living around others, because it shouldn't be problematic. It never was meant to be. But when we are all coming at the world like this, everybody's been coming through this, and we're supposed to be living like this. How do we do that? Go from the gold into the green. Okay, this is where the gold and green meet. This is where they intersect. Okay, the mind of the heart. Ooh, it's that magnetic resonance. It's the edge. So they coat the space shuttle in, is it 24 karat gold? I don't know. It's really high up. It's 14 or 24 karat gold, so that it will survive not just its travel through space, actually the moment of impact with the outer edge of our atmosphere, that when it has to pierce and go through that to penetrate into outer space, that the friction that goes on there is volatile. Think about where storms come from. It's when low and high pressure meet, and where they meet is where the storm is occurring. So that's why they're turning the tides and turning the change here. Earth is bringing it in. Your nature is bringing it in. Your nature is to be receptive to love, to knowing that you are loved, and allowing the help to come in your spirit first. You can ring my bell. And that's like winning Scrabble down there. That's like one of those words that gives you 63 points with just 5 letters. And you're like, I was wondering what I was going to do with that crazy Q, U, and Z, and whatever else they are. And that's the kind of help they're bringing in here, is otherworldly help. I love it. So it's that bit of a learning curve of the leadership and the guidance, and that not allowing those states to collide or clash. They each have their place. They each have their place. And when we manage to stay in our place, and that doesn't mean what you think, okay? It's like the space up under our feet is our identity. It is our postage stamp. Think about your pen when you're dropping your location on a GPS. It's just like that. It makes you findable. It makes you discoverable. It makes you receivable to life, okay? That way they know where to send it. Just like when people go jumping out of airplanes, in the military, and they need to leave their provisions as well. They need to know where they are in order to put them there, okay? Same as here. This is life, bringing the offering to you. Okay, letting life come find you. So don't let this throw you off and then begin retreating, okay? Trust your spirit, trust your soul, trust your guidance. So they're wanting to talk a bit about the 4 angles in our chart. If you're someone who likes to look at astrology or the chart, you can go to astro-charts.com, and that's one that shows up a bit like this. It is a circle, so to me it looks like a pupil. It talks about your houses and the signs of which those particular planets are in. And it gives you a view of the bigger picture of who you are. That's why you're more than just your sun sign. You're the whole you, all right? And then, so at the top is your MC. That is your midheaven, and it's right at the beginning of the 10th house. And that lets you know kind of what your calling, what your career might be, but more of your calling here in life, things that are natural to who you are and how you respond and behave. Now, they may be, remember, slightly out of balance, over responding over here, thinking OPP, other people's problems are yours, but that is not true. And then you have your IC, which is down below. It's called the nadir, or the midnight. But that midnight is our north star. So anytime you get lost, follow your North Star. Anytime I get lost, I have nothing in the house of Pisces, but that is my North Star. And so Pisces has to do with getting into this kind of like nebulous vibe where those boundaries are imperceptible. And the way to do that is, for me, it's to go out into nature, go out and feel the wind, go out and get in the water, change my states. As I begin to get crunchy or frumpy or rumpled or whatever, change my state, change my state. And usually that happens more indoors. So it says, take it outside. You ever heard of that? If you've seen a parent of some boys, they'll often say when they get scrambling up on each other, act all wild, take it outside. Now, I don't know about girls because I didn't have any. All right. So that's neither here nor there. So when I'm sliding it, this is who came off the bottom. Israfel, the angel of song. Let your mind stay in that state of praise, in that state of glory. So instead of having to convince or shift the whole troop, the whole group, that whole sort of thing, they're just wanting to talk in the frangles here today about your midheaven and your midnight. Just take yourself out the equation. Don't be all like announcing like, well, fine then, and I just this, and here's my declaration. No, they're like, because that actually gives this an announcement of where you are too, and it can stir up trouble for you. And I don't mean just with that person. I'm talking about the energies that are flowing through there, okay? So Israfel says, keep your mind set on greater things. Don't look at the obstacles or the things that are seemingly in your way, because that's when you're feeling the pressures, when you get slightly out of sync with yourself. Because staying in the center of who we are also has to do with mastering time and space. When you get in there, that's why you can manifest like that. That's why you can express like that. That's why there isn't the resistance or the friction or that force. And then what seemed like an obstacle becomes an opportunity. It's like, oh, I've been wanting to run up a mountain all day. Watch me, here I come. It literally is that type of energy, y'all. I know it sounds like a trip. You're like, not me. Well, whatever that thing is for you, okay? So they're wanting to get a tea leaf on this. Someone you know is undependable and insincere. Breathe. Breathe. Even when the winds aren't blowing outside, the one wind we have control of is the one that goes in our chest. So you inhale and you exhale. And sometimes accompanying it with the sound helps it clear even more. That's up to you. And you breathe in again. They used to say count to 10, but really 3 breaths like that, 3 breaths that are allowed to have their place. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You think I'm slowing down? Well, that's what it's doing to your nervous system as well. So this stuff that gets you all stressed, that's really a nervous system response. And when you do those 3 breaths, that's about 10 seconds. Those 10 seconds will change your life. That's what the earth is saying. That is what the earth is reminding you of, because you weren't always in this tizzy and in this estate is what they're saying. So here, apparently, earth is stepping into your wealth, your physical inheritance that comes from being who you are. This abundance, things that you can touch, taste, feel, see, and smell. Let me check again. Yes, okay, we're good here. Hang on. Okay, so we're good right on time, y'all. So here we have the Divine Tower, the Lord of Swords, and the Dreamer of Wands. So I'm going to put the Dreamer of Wands down for a moment because these have a lot of similarity going along with, okay, Israfel. Let me put you up there with the gestation and the sun. Has a lot to do with this. Oh, I'm getting it, and this as well. All that heaven to earth connection, all that alignment and divinement. You see that coming from inside? There's that moon going on up. You will reap what you sow with your mouth. Here, what you're thinking on, is going out into the universe and will come around for you to taste and see. And this is like having to do that even when things feel like they've boxed you in, things outside of your control has control of you. Life is here to help you. And this is the response of that connection, okay? So it also goes along with Gray Squirrel and what we saw. Come on, Gray Squirrel. That alignment emanating outward. Okay, so even though these are aligning like this, there's more of that outward expression, because can you see the lightning coming on in? Can you see the fire? Ooh, that's a lot of this energy about being dry. So, trigger warning, keep yourself moist. Some people hate that word, but it's like when we take this time to reflect, when we take this time to pull inward, when we feel like we need to press on, press forward, make change, force this, do this, touch that, go here, go there, check this. It's really take time to pull into that breath, because that's pulling the energy into you. And they're talking about that is the nourishment that they need, because there's moisture in the air, even as dry as it is. That bit of reflection, see how it draws the prosperity to you. Even from what looks like thatched up, dry, barren land, that fish, that prosperity comes right on into you. And when you inhale and exhale, again, that's another way that lets them in. That is a way of showing love and care for yourself. Conscious breathing, because yes, they keep your body still breathing. They keep your life still flowing. But there is a choice that you have in it. Like, so I went through cancer this last year, if you're new here, and I had to choose to live. My body did not want food. It did not want to digest. And although I took a little time with it, right, working through that and honoring it and growing and adapting a bit at a time as the love could penetrate and start to put leaves on this tree. But then there was sometimes it was like, I don't want to. I don't like being here. I don't like what's happened. I don't want to. And it's not, it didn't seem where it seems very obvious and forward when I'm saying it now. When you're in those feelings and in those moments, it doesn't seem like it. It'll sound something like, I'm too tired to get up. That's too much work. I just need to lay here, okay? Because I was bedridden for months. And it's like, wah, we've got other ideas. So there will come a bit of time where things don't seem quite as savory, even though it is working towards the goal of what you desire. So there are times that you're going to want to run for it and barrel ahead, that it's causing in a little bit of, hey, ease back, hold off for a moment, wait a minute, and then the call comes to you. Okay. But then there's also the time of you're like, I don't wanna, and they're like, get up, make that call, go handle that hospital bill, do that thing. Well, I don't like being on hold. We'll get a pad to doodle with, whatever it is. They're like, we're not removing your say from this. You're the head here, the full power and the permission. It's all up to you. But they're just trying to let you know a bit of what is going on, the bigger picture. The bigger picture here. So with that, I want to get in an affirmators at the bottom, Knight of Cups, and at the top, the World, so that you have something to offer. Not to offer them, to offer yourself that cup of love. This is what helps the plants to grow. They're saying so that when you get on board and you begin to recognize your power of being able to join in this energy with yourself and to prosper yourself, you don't just have to wait on the rain and the storms and that conflict and the edge of that magnetic resonance, that intense state. When you're just saying in your dailies and flowing in your dailies and appreciating those moments and remembering these little things, big things start to happen and change will occur, sometimes even without you even knowing it, because you weren't aware. You're like, well, I know I feel stupid saying this little thing, but okay, here we go. But when a week passes and a month passes and you don't have the same pressure and stress that you did, when maybe it only comes in an emotional fury at you and hitting you, and you realize, wait, okay, I don't think the sky is falling. It just seems that way. I need to do what? De-stress. Why? Take a breath so that life can flow through me and continue to take me forward. And what? Allow my fishes and my AKA wishes, which are really your desires, to come to me. Why? Because it's all mine anyway. Look at that. All mine anyway. I'm part of a package deal. You came with accessories. You came with provisions. You came with great ideas. You came with strength. You came with glory. You came with power. I think that's exciting. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. And if you're still here, click that like button down below, please. It is free as always, and it helps us rise to the top. What this message, getting on out, helping this world take that stress off, because when it's more relaxed like that, everyone begins to feel divine, and they'll be getting up messing with everybody else when they're feeling so good. They're all satisfied, right? And that's good news for you, for me, and for the whole wide world. Earth is like, thank you. All right. And you might consider clicking that subscribe button down below. It is free as always, and they will notify you anytime I post new videos. Hey, thank you for stopping by, and just know all the videos are timeless and eternal. So follow your spirit, follow your soul to your ocean, and check out some other titles around here. Hey, talk soon. Bye.